What's going on, everybody, man? This is Vibe from Tissue and the Tape. I got Phil here with me.
Yes,
And
sir.
we're excited, man. We love these occasions where we can get, some of the best MCs, some of the best personalities, some of the best just tastemakers, just anybody that's willing to take time out of their day and perfect their craft and do things to push the culture forward. We love those opportunities. We love these opportunities even more when we can get the people on for a second time. And Phil, that's the case tonight, man. So why don't you just let the people know what we got going on?
You already know, man. When you talk about skills, man, you talk about MCing, you're going to talk about our guest tonight. When you talk about lyrics, bars, quality hip-hop music, we're going to talk about our guest tonight. When you talk about one of the best MCs in the world, over the past 3 years, he's done what I consider pound for pound 3 of the best projects that I've heard over the past 3 years since we've been doing this show. When we bust it down, we're talking about 2014's Barrel Brothers with Torre, 2015 Music for My Friends, 2016 Easy Truth, 2017 Peddler's Themes, and there's still more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, all the way from Brooklyn, New York, we talking to the writer of writers, Skyzoo. Let's go.
Yo, what up?
What up, baby?
What's popping, man?
On.
Yeah, fresh off the jet, right?
Not the jet, but something in the air. You know, I like to keep it a buck all the time. So not the jet, but something that fly. Fresh off Air Berlin. Floating around Europe and all that. So
No doubt you had a show out there.
Yeah, I had a run. I had this festival run. So
nice.
I was out there, and the thing with Europe, Europe is always great because the festivals. Well, besides the festivals, Europe is always great because it's just the appreciation for people, right? As far as touring, the appreciation for hip hop, for the music, for the artists, et cetera, et cetera. But then the festivals are dope too because the festivals, from a business standpoint, the festivals pay crazy, and it's just like quick shows, and the lineup be so many different people. You know what I mean? Like you'll be on a bill where it's like 30 acts. You know what I mean? It'll be a whole weekend. It's kind of like Coachella or Summer Jam or Brooklyn Hip Hop Fest. It's like that. You know what I mean? So it's festival season in Europe in the summer. In the summer, Europe is strictly about festivals. So I was out there for that, and it was live, man. Me and Apollo was out there together.
Nice. Now, I saw on IG you got it with one of our people, one of our friends, and also one of our past guests. You got it with Wanja from I Still Love It.de. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's the homie. We all know each other through Instagram, like you said, and me and her connected a while ago. She actually came to me with the idea of the takeover on her page, and you guys jumped in on that, and that's how we reconnected. So from there, she was like, "Oh, we'll finally get to meet in person, chop it up about some things that I'm doing and what you're doing. When you get to Hip Hop Camp, which is in the Czech Republic." So we did that, and it was all love. So she's awesome people, man. She's dope.
Absolutely. Shout out to Wanja.
All right, so Sky, when we had talked to you before, it was a little bit over 2 years ago. Music from My Friends.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah. Music from My Friends was about to come out, and you actually pushed the date up about 2 or 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Like a week. Yeah, I think it was a week.
Okay. And we were excited. We talked about that project. Luxury was out, and you were one of the main people. I can honestly say when people talk to us about Griselda, we can honestly say like you helped bring them to the forefront. So salute to you for that, for sure.
Yeah, those are my bros, man.
It's just amazing just to see what you guys, you and as well as them, just in the past couple of years have been able to do. Like Phil mentioned, you came out with that phenomenal LP, as well as collaborative project with Apollo, who's one of the most sought out producers.
Yeah.
Just talk to us a little bit about just your process in the past couple of years with these 3 projects that you put out, and where that leads you, with Celebration of Us coming out later on this year.
Yeah, process wise, it's still the same, with a formula, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So it's
No doubt.
so my process is, I write on the spot. Everything I do, I write on the spot. I go to the studio, I turn the beat on, and I just, sit there and just write. I vibe out, I write, vibe out, write, whatever it is, lay the joint down. Some people write ahead of time. Some people write on the plane or at the crib or the tour bus or whatever it is. And I don't think there's a right or wrong process. I think it all works. I think it all makes sense. It's just what works for you, and I write everything on the spot because that's when the inspiration really hits me. When I'm sitting home at the crib and all that, I'm not really mega inspired to write rhymes, for whatever reason. I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? Like the inspiration doesn't hit the same. But when I'm in the lab on the spot, that's when, it really hits. And, that's when it just starts flowing. That's when everything starts flowing and, I start rocking out. And, in an hour, the song is done, or 20 minutes, the verse is done, or whatever it might be. Sometimes it's a little longer, sometimes it's less. You never know how it's going to fall, but that's pretty much the process. As far as from a technical, literal standpoint, that's pretty much the process.
Nice.
Word. So I have to ask, man. You did these projects. The easy truth, like we taught the OC, we taught the Razzcast. Both have done collaborative projects with Apollo Brown. The easy truth, though, I often look at like how songs are sequenced. It's something that's big with me when I listen to albums, and particularly every great album has a 3-song run that's just phenomenal. You can look at any album that you consider great, and you always see the great songs are bunched together. Look at Ready to Die, Reason Without any of those. You have from Jordans and Gold Chain, A Couple Dollars, and Basquiat on the Draw. You can put those 3 songs against anybody's 3 songs. Like, for me, that right there is like that's the cream of the crop. Like, I need to know specifically about Basquiat on the Draw with West Side Gun and Conway. Like, how was that session?
It was dope. It was email. It was email with Con. I did the verse in Detroit. Because with the project, I did the whole album. First, I did the whole album in a week. We did the whole album in 6 days.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's out there. People know that is the reality of it. I don't know if y'all knew, but I did the whole joint in a week. So, with that, I was down there for like 9 days. We did it in 6, and we knocked it out or whatever. And I did the joint via email and sent it around, to both of them. And Khan did his verse. Khan did his verse in Buffalo and sent it back. He sent it back in like a day. Like when I sent it to him, I just hit him like, "Yo, bro, I got a joint. I need you. I'm gonna call your brother as well. It's gonna be me, you, and your brother." And he was like, "Yeah, you already know, family, like done deal." So I sent it to him. He knocked it out in Buff, sent it back, and then I wound up going to Atlanta like a week or 2 later to see my fam and do some business stuff. And I hit Wes, and I was like, "Yo, I'm out here. We might as well get up and do it. We go to the lab together, and whatever you need." So he was like, "Yeah, bet." He was like, "Let's go to the lab tomorrow night, whatever." So I set up the lab with him. My man AJ at Salem Psalms set the joint up with him. Wes came through, wrote his verse on the spot, and rocked out. And that was that. So, as far as the agenda of the record, it was just about getting busy. It was just one of them get busy records. And on an album like The Easy Truth, there's room for those. I always find room for them on all my albums, even though my albums are conceptual, because hip hop is based on getting busy at certain points. But it was, that's just a get busy joint. It wasn't no real concept or anything behind it. it was just a hard beat when Apollo played it. I knew what I was going to do with that beat. You know, that's not a beat you necessarily tell a story on. That's just a beat you get busy to, you know. So I called some guys who I know just flat out get busy and hard and aggressive, just like the beat was, and we made it happen.
Now you talk about concepts and you talk about getting busy. You got the perfect marriage of that with on Stretch and Bob show, with the way that you made a concept out of that. And of course, for us, you didn't have to explain what it was, but just for the listeners, just what made you come up with that? Obviously, growing up in the city, I'm sure they had a huge influence on everybody, including you. Was that just something you always wanted to do and you just felt like you had the perfect beat to recreate that with?
Nah, you know what happened? I saw, even though I did grow up on it, especially later on, because when they was running around in like 91 and 92, I was like 10 years old, you know what I mean? But when when Stretch was on Hot 97 later on, I was in high school. So the combination of the two, because I was aware of Stretch and Bob as a unit, I was aware of Columbia University, I was aware of all that even as a little kid, but I really got to experience it in junior high and high school. So like the end of their run together, and then Stretch going on, Hot 97 with Marley and all that. So it all just came together, and I knew the history and I respected it and loved it. But it really happened off of the movie. I went to a screening of the movie here in New York, and then Stretch and Bob did a Q&A afterwards. And I've known Stretch and Bob, via the industry for a couple years, industry type thing where you see them, they show love, you show love, it's mutual, boom, boom, you keep it moving. So I knew them on that level for a couple years. And when I saw the movie, I was just inspired by the movie. And I was like, man, I wish I was 25 when they was on Columbia radio. Because then I would have been able to go up there and black out. You know what I mean? I was like, Dag, I wish I was 25 years old. And I said, you know what? We do have this thing called the internet, and I can doctor something up and make it sound like that. And that's how the idea was born. If I didn't go to that movie, to the screening, I probably wouldn't have came up with that concept. Like, that's how it all came about.
Nice.
Yep. I can tell you as somebody that listened to that show when it was happening,
right.
if I didn't know who you were and I didn't it sounds like it came right from that show. Even the references like to Child's Play and everything, even the references fit the era that was like, I was like, yo,
9 out of 10 people thought that I was on their show like recently. Like when people heard it, it was like, oh, word, you was on Stretch and Bob. Yo, you did it with them. And I was like, no, like it doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean? Like I doctored that. But that's cool. That means I got the point across. That means, mission accomplished. You know what I mean? But the idea was to sound like it was back then. Like you said, the references, even little things I said in the intro, like I talked about the tape. Like I was like, yo, you got to get it. It'll be out, this fall on vinyl and your tape deck, cassettes, and all that stuff. And Apollo was like, yo, you said tape deck, like cassette? I was like, yeah, on purpose. You know what I mean? I was like, because I wanted to sound like back then. If we was on there back then, I couldn't say MP3. You know what I mean? So, he got it and he knew it. I was like, yeah, I wanted to sound like where back then. Even the way my vocals sound, he ran some filters and, different things on my vocals to sound like I was at a radio station on a dusty mic. We did all that on purpose, so that it sounded like back then.
Man.
The Child's Play lines though, like come on, man. Eddie Caputo, I was like,
because the thing about it, and I mentioned it on Watch Loud and all that stuff with my man Jerry Barrow. The Child's Play stuff. I mean, first off, a record like that, the idea was, again, to dumb out. There's 2 records on the album where I dumb out, and that's, Basquiat and then that one. Everything else is some type of story or concept or whatever, even though I'm dumbing out. But when I say dumb out, I mean just spitting, just lines, spitting, going crazy. So with that, it all just started coming to me and whatever. But the Child's Play stuff, that was cool for me because Child's Play was a huge part of my childhood because I was deathly afraid of it as a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I was deathly afraid. Like, I slept with the lights on for like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like I'm not afraid to say it. Like I saw Child's Play when I was 6. I didn't shake it till I was like 9. So I was writing rhymes. I started rhyming at 9. I was writing rhymes still, you know, trying to get a deal at 9 years old and was still afraid of Chucky. You know what I mean? Like it was real. Like Child's Play was a huge part of my life to the point where now if I'm flipping channels and Child's Play is on, I leave it on. Like I have to watch it. It's just it makes me laugh now. Like I have to watch it now. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in the crib flipping channels and it's on, the TV stays on that until it's over. Because it's like a salute. It's like I have to do it. It's like a ritual. You know what I mean? So, you know, those lines, you know, were some of my favorite. And there's all types of silly stuff on that, man. Like there's, you know, not to toot or anything, but there's a lot that goes on that record, man.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole lot. Like, I mean, it's line on top of line. Like, there's no breathing room. You know what I mean? Like, and again, this ain't to toot. I know you guys do lyricism and break it down so we can talk like this on the show.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like, there's no breathing room on that record. Every single line is a line. Like, there is no breathe. A lot of times, you know, you set up. Like, you set up something for 2 or 3 bars, and then boom, you come with it. So you little jab, 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 haymaker. That record is all haymakers, you know what I mean? Like on purpose, you know, like every record, I mean, every line is just boom, boom, boom. Like, and it was on purpose, you know, it was supposed to be like if I was on the radio losing my mind, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. You executed that joint perfect, if I must say so. And that's hilarious that about Child's Play, because I remember being the big brother and showing my sisters that movie when they were about 6, 7 years old, just to scare the shit out of them. And I thought it was like the funniest thing in the world. That's the kind of stuff big brothers do. And my sister, one of my sisters, definitely afraid of Child's Play. Like,
boom, see, relatability.
Shook her. Yeah, my other sister was too tough for that, but the other one,
you know why it got us, and I can say us because you just explained about your sister, because we was 6 years old, because you said she was 6, I was 6, and in the movie Andy was 6. So
yeah,
and Chucky needed a 6-year-old because the first person he told his secret to was a 6-year-old. So he needed a 6-year-old kid. So I was done. If I was like 10 or 9, it wouldn't have mattered. It just was too much that lined up that I checked off too many boxes. You know what I mean? Like, he needed a boy. He needed him to be 6. You know, it was too many boxes, man. Like, he lived up on the top floor in the building. I lived up high in the projects. Like, it was too many boxes that checked off. Like, I fit the criteria way too perfectly, and it scared me for 3 years. It was nuts. I would creep in rooms and look around the corner, and it was nuts. You know what I mean? It was crazy, man. That movie ruined my life for 3 years, man. I love it.
that's wild.
So we talked about, like, when we first actually, you know, we do the full listen, we listen to it, you know, in the headphones, listen to it in the car, listen to it, you know, just at the gym, whatever. Like, that record was definitely the one that stood out. And then, of course, a couple dollars, just because we are, you know, we Yawa all the way. Like, you know, anytime we hear Joel, it's awesome. Just talk to us a little bit about that. Just let the listeners know, like, how that came about. And you know, obviously anybody that's listening to Peddler's theme knows on Finesse Everything, you know, you gave a little shout to Joel, and, you know, some of the things that you guys have talked about as far as killing 16s. Was that the same type of conversation that was going on when y'all made a couple dollars? Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so, you know, with Joel, you know, we've been cool for a long time. You know what I mean? We've been cool for a real long time. You know, Brooklyn, the industry, lyricists, a lot of different things that, you know, we keep in common. The main component is Illmind. Yeah, the main component is Illmind, obviously.
Yep.
You know, Illmind is like my brother. You know what I mean? I've been working with Illmind for 12 years now, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. You know what I mean? So, you know, Joel works with Illmind the same way. We got albums together. They got albums together. You know, things like that. We use the same studio, which is Illmind's personal studio. So, you know, we always crossing paths and showing love and kicking it. There's a huge mutual respect for each other's pen game. And it just made sense, you know. So when we was working, you know, I hollered at him and he was like, yeah, definitely, you know. And he got it done. I think he got it done the day before mastering. So it kind of was a little late, but I think he was on the road or something like that. Whatever it was, you know, he said he got me and he had me, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, I was like, yo, you know, we definitely got to shoot a video for this for the borough. He was like, yeah, absolutely, you know. And he hit me, you know, when he did his verse, he called me and was like, yo, I'm in the lab now doing the verse. He was like, I know you left me at 16, but is it cool if I stretch the beat and make it 24? And I was like, yeah, that's cool. You know, yeah, if you want to go that way, go for it. He was like, yeah, I got more to say. He was like, I just got so much more to say. I don't think I could fit it in 16. I got, you know, everything you said, everything you doing and where you took the story. He was like, I got more I want to say. I was like, yo, go for it. You know what I mean? So if you peep his verse is 24. You know, it don't seem like it because it moves kind of fast, but his verse is 24.
Nice.
No doubt. Shout out to the Yawa.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing some things. So, like I said, I mentioned Finesse Everything. Let's talk about Peddler's theme. Like, it is really a shame though. You say you don't get called for 16s as much as you should. You know that I think that's gonna
why. You know why.
We call
I mean, and
we
and
call
I
it the
said
Black
it.
Thought
I
syndrome.
said it on the next line. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's what we've dubbed it. We've dubbed it Black Thought syndrome. You definitely have it.
100%. I mean,
yeah.
I remember. Can you guys still hear me good?
Yeah, you're good.
I bet, because I'm sitting in the truck and it just started raining. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not, but
nah, it sounds clear.
Cool. So no, you know, Joel and I had that conversation. That's why I said it in the joint. That's word to my man Joel. You know, we had that conversation because when he did that record with Illmind, the one he dropped a couple months ago, where he talks about that. He talked about, you know, people fronting, you know, on the verse or whatever, or wanting to do a joint because they're scared. You know, we talked about that. Excuse me, and that's what led me to write that line in Finesse Everything. Because I walked in the studio with Illmind. He was knocking down that song. Yo, Sky, what up? Boom, boom, boom. Yo, check out the new joint. He pressed play, and I was like, yo, this is bananas. And then that turned into a 30-minute conversation about artists that we both dealt with, you know, things that we've dealt with in the industry and people, you know, being afraid to jump on a record. And we just started venting to one another about how it is and talking about how we don't have that problem with one another or any other artist. Like, I'll jump on a record with whoever. I'll jump on, it could be Jay, Nas, and M on the same record, and they call me to get on it. I'm going to get on it, and I'm going to black out. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to say Sky got rocked. You're going to either say I cleaned up everybody or it was, you know, neck and neck with everybody. But you're not going to be able to say I got rocked. I'm never going to be the weak link. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in myself that much. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so then with Finesse Everything, I wrote that or whatever. But I mean, you know, you mentioned calling it the Black Thought syndrome. Man, you know, I got the record Money Makes Us Happy with Black Thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I tried to get a couple other people on that record with me and Thought. And I was told that in response. I'm not going to say who the people were, but I was told that in response, like, by their managers and their teams, like, yo, you know, between us, they are not going to jump on this record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they was like, it's you and it's Thought. Like,
we both heard stories of people that have declined, respectfully declined to be in the same audio booth with that fellow. So shout out to you for one putting them on the song, and for both of y'all killing it as always.
You know, it was the opportunity to work with him was fantastic. You know, he had been a supporter and, you know, respected my pen game for a long time. Obviously, I grew up, you know, on his pen game. He's top 5 for me, you know what I mean, personally. So, you know, the opportunity, I'm not going to be like, nah, you know, it's Thought. I'm going to be like, yo, it's Thought. I'm definitely doing that. You know what I mean? I'm definitely going to push for that, you know, and we was able to make it happen. Shout out to my homegirl Chandra who put it together, and we was definitely able to. There was no way I was gonna say no to the opportunity of yeah, I got you, I'm down. Let me know when you're ready. You know, send me the joint or whatever it is. I'm not gonna fall. No, are you crazy? Like, you know what I mean? And I wrote the joint quick. It wasn't something where I felt like I had to spend 2 weeks on the verse. Like, I wrote the joint quick and sent it to him, and that was that. You know what I mean? Like, because like I said, I know what I do. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of everybody. And at the same time, I know what I'm capable of. So I know if I get on the record with whoever, I'm going to hold my part up, your part up, everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I know what I'm capable of, and I'm a fan of people. I'm a fan of the sport. You know what I'm saying? So I'll get on the joint with whoever. It doesn't bother me, you know?
We also got to give you some props too, man, because anybody that's a fan of yours and a fan of the brand that, you know, that is FGR and everything that you represent, we know how much Jason Phillips means to you. So for you to get him on the joint and get Thought too, but I know
same album.
Yeah, for you to get Kiss on the joint, like I know that was like a bucket list type of moment for you.
Yeah,
right?
100%. You know, I grew up on Big, you know, growing up the block from Big. I grew up on Jay, Nas, you know, Black Thought later because he came out when I was in like high school. You know, like I grew up on these guys from junior high and on. Before them, it was guys like Ra and of course Chi Ali, which is why I started rhyming, and you know, a lot of different people. You know, but Jada, man, you know, as a Bad Boy fan, which you get from Peddler Themes or 9-5 Bad Boy logo, but as a Bad Boy fan, yo, you couldn't tell me nothing about Jada. Like, I said it on the Penny series, you know.
Yeah.
Flow, I was underneath the block, thought Jada Kiss was Jesus. I just wanted to be the Locks. Like, you know, it was like, you couldn't tell me nothing about him. I was like, yo, this guy is the greatest guy to come out since Big J Nas. Like, I love the Locks as a group. The Locks is my favorite group of all time. It's the Locks and EPMD, you know, but the Locks get the edge for me just because of what it is, but I love EPMD. But yo, Jada was Jesus to me, man. Like, I was like, what? Like the world stopped when Clue dropped a tape and it said Locks freestyle. Like, the world stopped. You know what I mean? Like, I would go to the bathroom in the middle of class just to listen to the verse and then go back to, like, my man, yo, I got the tape. Oh, you got the new Clue, and slide me the tape, and I go to the bathroom and listen to it 2 or 3 times and then go back to class. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing about Jada, you know what I mean? So when that comes full circle years later and you meet him for the first time and you building and he's like, yo, I'm a fan. Like, yo, I'm a fan, bro. Like, you upholding what I started. Like, I'm a fan. I'm good at that point. And this was like maybe 2010 or something, you know what I mean? Like,
nice.
Yo, I'm a fan. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nah, yo, like when you introduce yourself and they know, that's when it's real. Like, yo, what up? Yo, I'm Skyzoo. Nah, bro, I know exactly what you're doing. Like, I'm a fan. What's up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever you need, I'm here. So when that starts happening, then it's a different conversation. And, you know, a couple people was on that side of the fence for me, and Jada obviously is one of them. So, you know, when we did the joint, you know, it was, I did it on my own, and then I took it to him in Yonkers. I took it to his studio. Yo, come up to the lab. Yo, come to Yonkers, whatever you need. So I drove.
You went to D Block?
Yeah, D Block Studio. Me and my man Rose Rome, we would drive up to Yonkers, the D Block Studio, and I played the joint. I remember playing the joint, and it was me, Kiss, Styles, bunch of, you know, his peoples. We all was in the spot, played the joint, and him and Styles just looked at each other, you know, with the ugly face, like, yo, this is stupid. And then afterwards, he was like, yo, what you said? You said I go to sleep and see a key. I said, yeah. He was like, yo, that shit is incredible, yo. I go to sleep and see a key. He was like, that's incredible, B. He was like, yo, I got you. He was like, done deal. I got you. And that was that. And he knocked it down and sent it back. And, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yo, like, bucket list. I did a lot of things in my career, you know, Spike Lee and, you know, Dre and a lot of different things that I've done. But for me, you know, that's up there with them, you know, like me and Jada, you know what I mean? Like, you know, now me and Jada on the horn and on the text and, yo, what up, God? Da-da-da. Yo, Sky, what up, baby? What's good? Da-da-da-da-da. Going back and forth, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so it's nice, man. It's a nice thing for me personally.
Like I said, man, just as you know, fans and, you know, people that follow the brand, you know, for the past decade, man, we knew how much that meant. So we were happy to see that. Glad you got that though.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, man, and the finished product was fire. That's always the best part, because like we always talk to people and be like, you're not sure if you want to actually meet these dudes, you don't know how it's gonna be, and then is it gonna work? Y'all met, played on the track, came out with an amazing finished product. So
that wasn't the first time we met, but you know what I mean. It was us linking up and all that. It was good. You know what I mean. We have been crossing paths and kicking it and all that for a couple years, but that was the first time we did the joint. I just wanted it to make sense. I didn't want to put it on a mixtape. You know what I mean. Same thing when I did the record with Styles. When I did the record with Styles on the Illmind album, I didn't want to put it on a mixtape. And then for me, those is personal moments. Even if it mattered to everybody else, that's great. If it don't matter to nobody else, that's cool. But for me, those is personal moments. Like I said, the Lox is my favorite group ever. So, for me, Styles as well, Chic as well. Like those are personal moments,
Yeah.
Dope, man.
Phil, all right. So I know you wanted to talk about 9-5 Bad Boy logo, man.
You know I did,
But before you start, for us that aren't Brooklynites, that pass through the borough every now and then, every once in a blue, man, what's the difference between Mike's and Country House, man? For us that don't know, why is it so much better?
I don't know. It's just better. I don't know. It's like one pizza shop versus the other. It's like Pepsi and Coke. You know what I mean? You like one over. You know what I mean? Like the same type of food. You know what I mean? But Mike's is the spot though. Like if you watch Seinfeld and everybody goes to Monk's and it's always packed, and you can go to Monk's every day and be alright. Like in Seinfeld, that's Mike's. Like you can go to Mike's every day and be alright. You know what I mean? Like
nice.
You go to Mike's. I go to Mike's on the weekend, every weekend. Either Saturday or Sunday. It kind of alternates depending on the mood, but I go to Mike's every weekend. And depending on when you go, like on a Saturday and a Sunday, I mean, that line is like an hour. You know what I mean? Like you could be standing outside anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour waiting for a table. And it's just a little diner. It's a little Greek diner owned by a Greek family, Mike and his brothers and his sister, and it's just a Greek diner that's been around since like the 70s or the early 80s or whatever. But Mike's is it. You know what I mean? I've been going to Mike's since I was, in elementary school. Like parents, all right, wake up, go to Mike's for breakfast. And then as you get older, you go to Mike's on your own. Or, the only thing with Mike's is they close really early. That's why we knew in the hood, Big was talking about Country House. Mike's closes at like 7. They close really early because they open at like 5 in the morning.
Okay.
But Country House is 24 hours. So that's Big was talking about Country House because after you in the club, whatever, you going back to the crib. Country House is like 2 blocks from St. James. So you go to Country House with a broad, you eat, and then you drive to St. James to the crib, and then do the thing. And that's that. You know what I mean? So Mike's closes real early. So that's why we all knew what it was. Like you would see Big at Country House. Like we knew what it was. You know what I mean? But everybody in the hood know Mike's is better, but Country House ain't whack. Country House is cool. Country House is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like Country House is cool. They got the turkey pastrami, which is good because I don't eat beef and pork. They got turkey pastrami. Mike's used to have the turkey pastrami, but they deaded it. They said enough people wasn't ordering it, so it was a waste. So they deaded it. But Country House got the turkey pastrami with the grits, so that's live. But Mike's is better. You know what I'm saying?
you know, my fat boy, my inner fat boy is like, yo.
Let's take a trip.
Yeah, yo, I'm about to get on I-95. You know what I mean?
But they just diners. I don't want you thinking it's like Chow's or something. Like they just.
Oh no, I'm all about the diner, man. I mean, like I can go high end. I can go down low. I mean, I'm all good as long as the food good. It don't matter to me.
Yeah, you go to Mike's, you can get pancakes and turkey sausage and a cup of coffee for like $7. You know what I mean? Like you can't really.
There it is, yo.
You know what I mean? So but yeah, Mike's is it though. I'm at Mike's every weekend.
Word.
Yo, so you already know what it is. By next time we in the city, we gotta go across the bridge, hit up Mike's, man.
Gotta do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phil, 9-5 Bad Boy logo, man. Talk to him, man.
Take that. We talked about this extensively when we first when we first bought the album. Yes, people, we bought the album
Yeah,
because as you should.
appreciate it.
You know what I mean, but you captured the spirit of that era perfectly, like with the Faith sample, and I mean just the talking about though that logo. Like I think we said like it's only a couple that really is on that level, like like as far as like just soon as you see it, like the Def Jam logo and the PE logo. For me personally, those are the only two that I probably put above that. Maybe the Death Row joint, but just because I always thought it was ill, but definitely Def Jam and in the Public Enemy logo. But that, huh? Oh, the Rockefeller joint is fire too. But you know, as far as personal faves,
yeah.
Like, tell us about being a kid in 1995 in New York City, in Brooklyn, when Bad Boy is on top of the world, yo.
I mean, it was the greatest era ever. You know what I mean? Like, just the excitement of it. It was the greatest era ever. And that's not to say we didn't have other great eras, but it was the greatest era ever, especially growing up on St. James, you know, because I lived up the block, literally up the block from Big. Like, I could almost throw a rock at Big Step. You know what I mean? Like, almost, you know.
Yeah, I saw in the video where you went past the crib.
Yeah, like literally, like right there. So you could walk there in under a minute from door to door. So, you know, my hood is Biggie world. You know, my hood is Junior Mafia world. So like you come to the hood and there's pictures of Big everywhere. Like there's a mural of Big here. There's a mural of the little baby on the album cover on the gate. When the store closed, you pull the gate down and there's the awning. I mean, there's the mural of the little baby with the fro there. Then you look at the supermarket and there's a avant-garde art thing on the wall of the supermarket. Like you go in the supermarket and there's a framed picture of Biggie. Like my hood is Biggie world. You know what I mean? Like you can't really say nothing bad about Big in my hood. Like my hood is Biggie world. You know, so exactly. So you know, between Biggie and Junior Mafia. I mean, Junior Mafia still be around the way. You know, you come around the hood. You could see C's. You could see, you know, Nino. I see Nino every day. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like you see them in the hood. You know what I mean? So that was Bad Boy World by default because of Big and because of JM. Like that was Bad Boy World at the time when, you know, when that was what it was. And it was the best, man. It was like, it was incredible, you know? And like I said on the record, like the record is really like, it's about Bad Boy and it's an homage to Bad Boy, but I didn't set out to make a Bad Boy record. The record really talks about the era, and it's like, as a kid, when you 13, 14, whatever it was, you know, you look up to a couple things, and you have a couple options. One of them is the guys on the corner who are celebs, and the other one is the guys who rap from the corner who are celebs. And it just so happened to be kind of in the same light, worlds intertwined or whatever. So that's why the record starts off talking about the street side. Like, you know, the bass lines cover bass lines till the tape stuck. Like, you know, playing the tape, you know, and you got the, you know, you got the speakers, you got the Kenwood speakers knocking and the you know, the subwoofer in the trunk. And underneath that is a couple keys. And, you know, that's the stuff we saw as little kids. We saw those kind of guys. Like, we saw those kind of individuals running the hood. And they was, you know, superstars to us, just like Bad Boy was. And you looked up to either or, if not both, you know. And like I said, you know, looking up to a logo of a toddler with his fist in the air or letting the llama rip in the air. It was like one way or another, we was going to win one way or another, either looking up to these guys or looking up to those guys. But it's all the same type of guys, give or take. So that was really what the record was about. And, you know, the Bad Boy logo is the baby with his fist in the air.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, you know, looking up to a logo of a toddler with his fist in the air or letting the llama rip in the air. And it just keeps going or whatever. But, yeah, the era was great, man. And the record is, you know, one of my favorite records I've done to date. You know, the idea came on the humble. You know, what happened was Twami, the producer, Twami came through to Brooklyn and played some beats. He played like 40 beats, man. And he played these two different beats but they both had the same chop. They both had the same Faith Evans chop. But they were two different beats. They wasn't together like one beat. He played one, and maybe like 10 beats later, he played the other one. You know, they were two separate beats using the same sample. And right away, it hit me. I was like, yo, give me both. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to finesse this and put one and then the other and put the two together on one song where it's almost like the beat change. And then the idea, originally, I was just going to rap. I was just going to, you know, dumb out. And then I was sitting there and I had some lines. You know, I was sitting there. I had some nice lines. Had some good things going on. But it just hit me. I was like, nah, man, don't just rap on this one. I was like, you know, let's do something else. And the more that sample was ringing off, I was like, this is what we got to do. And it just hit me. It was God in the room. It was God in the studio. He just tapped me on the shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, I had some nice lines. I don't remember what they were, but I had some nice lines, some stuff that I was happy with, like a good 4 bars. I had some real fly lines. And I just deaded them. I was like, nah, let's go around the corner with this. And it just turned into this thing. And when it turned into it, I mean, I wrote that record in like 20 minutes. Like, when it turned into this other thing, it just flew, you know? And I wrote that whole song in like 20 minutes. And the idea, once I picked both beats, was to make it sound like a remix. You know what I mean? Like, the first beat, and then you use the same sample, but remix it the way Puff would do. So that's why I did that. You know, it was a lot of little hidden things, like I always try to do, to just make it make sense. So that was all on purpose. It was 2 separate beats using the same sample that he played, and I just took them both. And I was like, yo, boom, here we go. And then that was that, you know. And I remember playing it on Instagram Live, and people dumbed out. So then I played it again. They dumbed it. And like by the third, I played it like 3 different times over the course of 2 weeks on Instagram Live. And every time people, they was like, yo, when is it dropping? Yo, when can I buy it? Yo, when can I get that? Like, you know what I mean? It was wild. Like, people like, yo, when can I get that? Yo, when is the joint dropping? Yo, I need that record. I need that record. And it just made a lot of sense, man. And so I knew, I was like, yeah, people going to really be on this. Based off the little Instagram Live thing, I knew people was going to be on it.
Yo, has anybody got at you and said, like, anybody from Bad Boy, like, has Puff heard it, or anybody has that got back to you or anything like that?
Not in that. I mean, not in that light, but I mean, I can't really go too crazy because I'm working on some things, but it'll
fair enough.
It'll all make sense. You know, my whole thing with it though was I didn't want to. It wasn't about I'm gonna make this record to get to Puff. You know what I mean? Like, it was I'm gonna make this record for the people who grew up in the same era, who understand it and love it. And if it gets to Puff, that's cool. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we got similar circles. You know, I'm quote unquote underground, but people know I dance in the mainstream world a lot. You know, from the artists that I work with, to the ghostwriting that I do, to the producers that I've been fortunate enough to rock with. You know, I always got a luxury of something floating around on the radio up here. So, like, I'm quote unquote underground, but, you know, I float around in the mainstream world a lot. So, you know, we got people's in similar circles and, you know, all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So, it wasn't about, let me get the Puff. Now, you know, when I was writing it, I was like, yeah, it'll be super live if it got to him. But I ain't make it to get his attention. I made it.
No, we didn't think that. I was just hoping that he heard it, because like that's something I think that he would appreciate if he heard it. Just because.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You know, because it just makes so much sense. You know what I mean? And there's so many little hidden jewels. You know, I really wanted to paint the era. You know, so I'm talking about Alizé instead of talking about, you know, Bel Air. All that's on purpose. Like, you know, I talked about the Alizé, and then I went from the Alizé to the Spade. You know, I said we, you know, turned the drop Jeeps. You know, we kept the drop Jeeps, but turned the rest in the Spade runs. So I'm saying, like, back in the day, it was, you know, Wranglers with the top off and Alizé. Now it's Wranglers with the top off with Ace of Spade. You know, so I'm just talking about then and now, and all those little nuances and different little things, you know, little jewels and layers and all that. And I just wanted to talk about the era, you know, like how we still go to Cum Cow. You know, Cum Cow is a Chinese restaurant in Brooklyn and Fort Greene. And It's like the best Chinese food in Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Kung Kao is out of control. You can get it to take out on one side of the restaurant, or you go to the other side, and it's like a somewhat nice sit-down spot.
Sit down, John.
Yeah, and a little more than just a regular takeout. Like, it's nice. Like, they come bring you, like, hot tea and all this type of stuff, whatever, whatever. But Kung Kao is like, I mean, you hear the stories of Jay-Z and Foxy Brown in 94, 95 rolling up to Kung Kao, and, you know, Jay spending $300 on Chinese, him and Foxy with the Lex outside. And, you know, all the drug dealers was at Kung Kao. Like, Kung Kao is the spot, and it still is. It was the spot back then. It still is. So, you know, like I talked about, you know, playing BYOB up in Kung Kao because y'all don't sell privilege. So we just bought it with us, you know, to bring your own bottle. Like, we go to Kung Kao, you know, we bring our own bottle of Hennessy because they don't sell Hennessy privilege at Kung Kao. So we go across the street to the liquor store that's right across the street on Myrtle in Washington and get a bottle of Hennessy privilege and take it in Kung Kao and thug it out. You know, you with your peoples or whatever, ordering wild Chinese food and pouring, you know, Hennessy privilege under the table. Like, that's just the stuff we do because that's what the guys older than us did, you know, back in the day. And we just carrying the tradition on, you know what I mean? And that's what the record's about. So if you're from the neighborhood, you're from the era, you grew up around those kind of guys, you get it. You know what I mean?
The one part that I liked too was if you just close your eyes, like you could, the way that you painted the picture as far as being on Letterman and Puff kind of wilding out while, you know, everything's coming together as far as the record. So you can almost feel the build up for it, like you said, until everything settles in.
And Mason the Concords.
Yeah, it just that really, you know, as far as the songs on the EP, man, it just made everybody that I know that listened to it excited for what's to come, because it's like, man, if you had these joints ready for the EP, you know, the LP, you know, just, you know, there's something everybody's looking forward to. So
yeah. I mean, I did the joint. I did the EP in 2 weeks. You know, I was on tour in Europe with Apollo Brown. I was thinking about what to drop this year. In Celebration of Us was always the title of the next album. Like, as soon as Easy Truth was done, you know, it wasn't even out yet, and I was already brainstorming. And the first thing I do with the album is come up with the title. And you know, I was brainstorming, and one day it just hit me. You know, I think I was laying in bed, like had just woke up or something like that, and I was thinking about next album and, you know, music and work and different things, and it hit me, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's such a strong title. You know what I mean? And I wrote it down immediately. I think I tweeted it immediately so nobody could try to have something similar later and it be some nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, I think I tweeted it immediately, like, yo, the next album's called Celebration of Us. Trying to have it as a paper trail. You know what I mean? But, you know, I didn't want to drop that right away. So I wanted to do something in between without taking away any of the light or the momentum from the Easy Truth. Because Easy Truth hasn't been out a year yet. You know, it don't turn a year until the end of September. So I didn't want to put nothing out that took away from that. And, you know, so I said, well, let's do an EP. You know, I've done that kind of project in a little while, a little short EP. And then I was like, yeah, maybe 6 to 8 songs. And it wound up being 8 joints, 30 minutes, whatever. And I did it over the course of 2 weeks. You know, I was collecting beats while I was writing. A lot of times I have the majority of the beats ahead of time. But the project was so spur of the moment, I was collecting beats while I was working on it. You know, I was hitting people, yo, I need beats, whatever. And it all kind of miraculously came together. But going back to the Bad Boy joint, yeah, like that whole segment of, you know, on the back of a Letterman backstage, I just harped back into what it was like when I was a kid, dying to be on Bad Boy at like 14, 13 years old. Like, I would see, you know, and you know, when Mace's prominence and all that was 97, so it really was a couple years later, but I kind of took the beginning of 9-5 Bad Boy and then just, you know, threaded it into like the later years. Because the thing with the logo, what I was trying to represent was what Bad Boy used to sound like. And that's not a knock on what Bad Boy sounds like now. It's fantastic. Everything's great. Puff's still doing his thing and still running the game. But that era of Faith, Total, 112, Big, Craig Mack, The Locks, Mace, you know, like all that. That was the old logo. You know what I mean? They changed the logo in like 2000 where they made the circle around it and whatever. The old logo was where it just said Bad Boy and it had the baby in the middle with the Timbs and the this up. Later on, they added the circle around it. Little small.
The one that Ferg Pop did.
Exactly. When the first like 4 years of the label. So that's what I meant by that logo. 9-5 Bad Boy logo, like that logo. You know what I mean? That era. So, you know, I used to picture myself, man, like I was 14, you know, whatever, when Mason them came out and when Mo Money, Mo Problems came out, I would grab my fitted and put it on backwards over my eyebrows and like, you know what I mean? Like sit on the couch. I would literally put my fitted on backwards and sit on the couch and spit every word, you know, like, you know, I would do the whole thing. And it was a nice time, man. And I used to picture myself there. I used to picture myself on TRL or on Letterman or on Rap City or on, you know, I used to picture myself there with these guys, you know. So
your rollies in the sky.
Right. I used to picture myself with them. So that was, you know, they all had the leather Bad Boy jerseys. I had mine. You know what I mean? In my dreams, I had my jersey, you know. So that's what that was. Like, you know, backstage at Letterman, fitted over my brow like I was Mason Bethan, Patent Leather 11s, and the band played a record. Like, so you see it. Like you said, you know, you getting dressed. You got the new Patent Leather 11 J's, the Concords with the Bad Boy, you know, Letterman jacket and the logo. And you backstage, and you on the side of the stage, and the band, the Letterman band is playing the record, and Puff is already out there. He doing his dance, and he talking about can't stop, won't stop, and, you know, he doing all that. And he's signaling for me to come out, and then I come out and get busy, and, you know, he dancing and all that. You could picture the whole thing. That's how I pictured it back then. I pictured me in that seat at 14 as a kid, at 13, 14 years old, you know?
That's so crazy because in my mind, when I heard that song, I get visuals of how I see these songs, and I pictured you doing a video of that, of which you rap right there, where you're coming out like you're you, but you're coming out as Mace would have come out in '95, but you're performing this song. So like that's how I when I saw this, when I heard this song. And I heard it a couple of times. That's what I thought of. Like, I could see you coming out like on, wouldn't be David Letterman, but like Jimmy Fallon. I mean, and Puff being out there doing this thing, and, you know, take that and take this, and I mean, and then you come out and do what you do. But yeah, man, that you definitely captured the era, man. Because like I said, that's us. So we knew exactly what you meant when you said the 9-5 Bad Boy logo. It wasn't even like, oh man, what, you know, is he talking about? No, we knew exactly, and it was just refreshing to hear because it felt like 1995, and, you know, and that's what made it dope. You know, just from the bars to the feeling of the song.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate that.
Man, Sky, man, we appreciate you hanging out with us and talking to us, man. We know you're busy. We definitely just got a couple more questions, man, and they won't all pertain to music, man. We know you're a huge, you know, Knicks tape. I don't even know if it's the Knicks tape anymore. We're just going to say Knicks.
Knicks 8-track.
And we even saw that you had started something a little bit as far as maybe doing some writing, doing some you know, what was that? The basketball stories? What was the name of the venture that you started with?
Yeah, Chain Link Champions was kind of like a just an outlet for basketball. As far as my writing with Slam Magazine, shout to Slam Magazine. You know, they gave me the opportunity. They came to me and wanted me to, you know, write some pieces for them, some feature pieces, some blog work. Some of the stuff wound up in the actual print version of the mag, which was cool. Things like that. So
where do you stand with the Knicks, man?
I mean, I'm still there because it's in my blood. You know what I mean? You can't change your bloodstream, but, you know,
he'll never be part Nets.
No, I can't. Like they would have to do something racial. You know what I mean? Like they would have to come out and, you know, Dolan would have to come out and be like, oh, a bunch of coons, I'll pay them what I want. Then, you know what I mean? it would have to be something racial.
Now the Oak thing was kind of crazy though.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about that.
It was, but it wasn't racial because Dolan got a lot of black friends, and I know, having black friends doesn't mean you don't feel a certain way. Like, I'm very, very
Theirs was personal, right?
Yeah, I grew up very pro-black. I grew up in a Panther household, like that type of stuff. So, I totally get it. I know all that stuff by heart. But Dolan ain't like that. That's one thing about him. He ain't that guy. He's just, I don't know, he just is who he is. But, like, he's just got a personal vendetta about Oak. And I heard some things behind the scenes that, they'll stay there. But, he just got a thing against Oak, you know what I mean? And which is lame because Oak is the man. And, I've hung out with Oak. Oak is man cool and all that. And Oak is the man. But, it ain't racial. You know what I mean? They would have to do something racial for me to back off and be like, all right, I'm going to go across the bridge with it,
If they rehired Phil Jackson next season, would you be done?
I would say I was, but I wouldn't be. Like, I'm in an abusive relationship.
Yeah. He stuck y'all up for a cool 70, man.
Oh yeah, he got busy, man. He one thing he don't lack is actual intelligence in the sense of how to finesse people and whatever. You know what I mean? Like he don't lack that. He might lack forward thinking as far as how times change. He might be the grumpy old man on the porch, but he don't lack how to make you think he the smartest guy in the room.
Man.
He don't lack that. But anyway,
the Knicks needed Pop from the barbershop, man, because they ain't had no warning from Phil. Phil came and got all the paper, yo. Like, it was all bad.
Yeah, it's wild, man. But there's that, there's the sports stuff. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was about to say this is rare. This because people know how you are with the Knicks, man. Where does Melo play next season?
I don't know.
Hoodie Melo.
I know, right? Hoodie Melo is the guy. I don't know, man. And Melo's my man personally. I name drop him a lot because that's the homie. Like, we hang out. I go to games. I sit on the floor with Bay. Shout out to my man Bay Frazier. That's Melo's manager. Grew up with him since a kid and all that. My man Just is his older brother. Shout out to my man Just. Like, literally his older brother, same last name, same parents, whatever. My man Bro, my man Smitto. It's all like the Melo crew, you know what I mean? That we all run around together and stuff. And so, Melo, my man, you know what I mean? Like, that's the homie.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I haven't asked him, because I mean, that's whatever he thinks is best for himself, his career, his family. That's what it is. Of course, I would love for him to stay because I purely because I want them to retire his number.
Yeah.
I want him to go down a Nick. But at the same time, I understand having to break out because he deserves so much better from management and front office and all these different people and higher ups who betrayed him, who didn't do right by him, who literally threw him under the bus, whether it was them literally or not, whether it was them individually or whether it was their man, that's still a part of your crew. Like, if out of the two of y'all, if one of y'all do something, y'all a crew. So y'all both somewhat responsible, and people gonna be like, yo, what's up with your man? You know what I mean? Like, unless it's something that you was openly against and campaigned against, then it's different. But other than that, it's like, yo, that's your man. Like, y'all ride for each other. So, they let their man do all that. You know what I mean? Like, they let him run around and talk crazy about him. So he deserves so much better. You know what I mean? So I can't, I can't say, a part of me want to be selfish and be like, nah, I want him to stay, but I get it. I get both sides of the coin. I just want him to be happy and do what's best for him. And I told him that, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, yo, bro, just do what's best for you, man. Like, whatever make the most sense. And he was just like, always, bro. Like, me, always. He's awesome, man. He's an awesome dude. Everything you would think about him, he's that. He's awesome. He's just awesome. Yeah, he's the man. He definitely deserves the best of what the NBA cards could deal him because he really is the best. He's the man.
So there's a rumor out in the world, and we don't like to deal with rumors too much, but this one is fitting for what we were just talking about. One, LeBron Ramon James will be a free agent at the end of the next season, as we all know. So a couple of my good friends have this theory that he'll end up in NYC. Chris Paul will have the option to be out. He could also end up in NYC with Melo, which would then allow them to bring in the fourth homie, D Wade. You know, you already got Porzingis. I mean, that's a lot of what ifs, of course, but it's also something that, you know, we know when LeBron goes somewhere, he comes with gifts. So, I mean, how would that look? How much of how would a Knicks fan react to that situation?
I mean, New York would lose their minds, obviously, because, you know, we're all about the light and, you know, the flash and the show and you know, all that type of thing. And so we would, you know, New York fans would lose their mind. But there's a lot of reasons why that wouldn't happen. You know, for one, I think everybody around the league took notice. I know everybody around the league took notice of how Oakley was treated, but more importantly, because, you know, people felt for that. People was like, "Dag, that's crazy," but how Melo was treated. You know what I mean? Like how Melo was treated by the front office, Phil or no Phil. Like I said, unless it was an entirely new regime, new owner on down, then it would be like, all right, cool, clean slate. But same owner, you know, same, you know, Steve Mills, same Clarence Gaines, all these different people. They saw that. They saw how Melo was treated, and they ain't with that. You know, Melo is the most liked guy in the league. You know, these polls come out every day or every season. Melo is the most liked guy amongst his peers in the league. Yeah. Everybody's cool with Melo. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is cool with Melo. I mean, the other team, we be in the back, you know, after the game in the parking lot, and, like, the other team is just waiting around to hang out and dap them up and show love. Like, name any team in the league, all other 29 teams. They're just hanging around to show love and crack jokes. Crazy. Like, everybody loves Melo. You know what I mean? There's people who love Bron or don't love Bron. There's people who like Steph or don't like Steph because they think whatever. Everybody loved Melo. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, they saw how he was treated. So they ain't coming here for that, for one. And for two, it's too much bread, and they gave too much bread to Tim Hardaway for them. That, like, they would have to shake that.
Oh, yeah, they'd have to. Oh, yeah, I forgot that. That was wild.
They would have to shake that, and nobody's going to take that dude's contract. No, it's like the Noah contract. Between the Noah contract and the Hardaway contract, the Knicks are strapped. The only money they have left is if they shake Melo. You know what I mean? Like, they're strapped for cash. They gave all.
Ooh,
I think
that's horrible.
I think 40% of the cap goes to Noah and Hardaway.
Yeah.
So they're done. Like, they can't do much. They got to rely on youth and kids and Hardaway. The plan is for Hardaway to be the man. Like, that's why they gave him the bag. That's why they went and got him back. The plan was, we're going to shake Melo at some point, and Hardaway's going to be the man. The plan is for Hardaway to be the scorer, Hardaway and Porzingis to be the man. Like, Porzingis is going to be the guy, you know, in the paint, who can stretch the floor, face of the team for sure, but Hardaway is supposed to be the wing of the future. Like, that's why they gave him the bag. They're looking at Hardaway to drop 25 a night at some point. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, he's supposed to be the man at some point.
Good luck with that, Chief.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, man. I mean, their reports came out. He was surprised at the bag. He was like, "What?" Like, they reported.
Yeah, he would have been crazy not to take it.
He's like, literally, he was quoted as saying, "They was like, what was your reaction when you found out?" And he was like, "My reaction was what? Like, they're gonna give me what? You know what I mean? Like." So, you know, it's just wild, man. But, you know, that's enough of them.
Heading towards the end of the year, man, in celebration of us, what can we look to expect in the next coming months as we head to the fourth quarter?
It's probably going to be top of the year. It probably won't be this year, only because, you know, with December, it's rough, Christmas and all that type of stuff. Attention as far as something getting lost. You put a project out, if you're not on a major, if you don't have a $5 million marketing budget, it could get lost in the shuffle because it's Christmas, right? You know what I mean? So, you know, it's probably going to be, it's still winter because I always said winter, but, you know, it'll probably be top of 2018, But you know, I'm super excited. I'm like halfway done. I think I got 7 down. I got like 7 more to go. Pretty much got all the beats, but I'm always still listening. And it's just a very, very, very important album to me. Very special album. It's like you take Music for My Friends, which leads into Peddler Themes, and that leads into In Celebration of Us. So Peddler Themes picks up where Music for My Friends left off, and then In Celebration of Us picks up from Peddler Themes. Like, it's all a chain. It's all a chain link, you know? So it's live, man. You know, I'm 7 joints down. I let an exec hear it. I let like an executive hear it, and he was like, "Yeah, this is probably gonna be your best album to date." And I was only 7 songs down. Yeah, and I was only 7 songs down. You know, he was like, "Yeah, this is shaping up to be your best album to date," because it's wild. Like, the stuff that's going on it is wild, man. And I can't wait to get to the post-production stage. You know, like writing and recording and all that stuff. But then the post-production of like bringing in musicians and skits and sound effects and, you know, the way a song ends and then the way a song begins, it's so layered, man. It's layered to the point where I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, it's really, really layered as far as understanding it and getting it and knowing, yo, this is what he's doing, and wow, holy shit. Like, you know, it's that type of thing. You know, it's just, it's all stories, and it's all conceptual and cohesive, like always. And it's just like, yo, like, you know, you gotta put me in this certain class at this certain table. Like, you have to at this point. I'm not tooting or none of that. It's just what it is. Like, I listen to a lot of things out here. I keep my ear to it all. I believe in the only way to be great is to continue to be a fan of whatever it is that you're in. The moment you're not a fan anymore, you lose your way, because you don't know what's going on out there. You don't know the new kid with the new handles and the new jumper. You don't know the new fashion line and new designs and how they made the jeans slimmer. Like, you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? So you got to stay aware. So I stay aware of what's going on. It ain't too many people doing what I do in that regard. You know what I mean? Like, you know, as far as the entendres, the doubles, the triples, the layering, you know, this line connecting to the next line, which connects to the next line. It's not a lot of people doing it. You can name a couple who are capable. You can name a couple who do it or who choose to do it. There's not a lot of people who do it on every verse, every record.
Man,
like,
you said,
not a lot of people who do it.
You said the theme music for Peddlers on Beautiful Decay, and that was 09.
Right. Like,
yo,
man, like I always been on that. That's the thing. Like, I always been who I am. You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna change. Like, I feel like if you go to a Chinese restaurant and they whip out a pizza pie, you're gonna sit there flabbergasted. When you come to me, you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you come into the soul food spot, you're getting soul food. You're not gonna show up at the soul food spot and I'm making lo mein. Like, that's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you getting lyricism. You know, you getting lush, full production that comes from a dirty breakbeat background, but then expands into other things musically and sonically. You know, you getting jazz elements, but not like Tribe. You know, not like Tribe Called Quest or anything, but you're getting jazz elements, and you know, you're getting stories and concepts about where I'm from, about my neighborhood, and about guys that are similar, whether they're from Brooklyn or Texas or LA or Detroit or Germany. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be about these guys who grew up a certain way, who look a certain way, sometimes misunderstood, sometimes totally understood. And you're going to get, why do things happen the way they happen? Why are we in these situations, predicaments? Why is all of this set up the way it is? How did this start? What is it now? How do we think it's going to end? And what happens all in between? Like, you're going to get what you're going to get. So I've been talking about theme music for Peddlers for years now. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to get that, you know?
Yeah. Well,
yo, which kind of brings us to the end. We had a thing that we did called the best MCs in the world. And We ranked them according, and I want to be clear because a lot of people got at us, yourself included a little bit.
Yeah.
we did that. We did it based like on the college basketball rankings, but one of the things that we did, we took into consideration largely, of course, lyrics, of course, actual work, but we did it. We took into consideration heavily at that point in time what was out. So for you, at that point, the only thing that you had out, because this is prior to Peddler Themes, the only thing you had out, you had a couple features. You had the Peter Rosenberg joint was out, which is dope. That was out, and we even talked about this. We was like, yo, at any given point, some of these dudes can be at the top of this list if they drop something. And so I know the moment when we dropped it and you saw where you were, you said what?
I don't remember exactly, but I mean, I remember my sentiment. I just was like, huh? Like, you know what I mean? Like, off rip, first off, being considered in the top 10 of a discussion is awesome, and I'm honored by it, and all that. You know what I mean? I don't want that to get lost. Some people, if I'm not number one, then fuck you and you lit. Like, it wasn't that type of thing. I think I was looking at it like 9 and 10. I was like, what? Like I don't know 9 or 10. I don't know 8 or 9 rather MCs doing what I do more or better than what I do. So that's kind of what it was about. I didn't know it was about kind of projects or work at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, as far as, okay, we're basing it on your current work. We're basing it on your current work this past 3 months or whatever. Then I get that because, every MC, every artist, you're going to have those dry moments where you don't put nothing out. You're touring, you're creating. Whenever an artist is quiet, they're usually in the studio. Then when they put the music out, that's when they're not in the studio because they've been in the studio for 6 months or a year or whatever it is. So I get that. But I kind of just looked at it. It was like top 10 MCs in the world, which is great, which is awesome. But I was just like, when I saw it, and I don't remember the whole list, and we don't have to get into it name for name, but a lot of those guys I know personally. A lot of those guys I agree that they should be top 10. A lot of those guys I'm a fan of. But then there also was some guys where I was like, I'm 10 and he's such and such or whatever. I was like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I definitely got that.
I'm like, whoa. And again, that's no shot at nobody. We're all competitive. We all want to be, at the top, of the food chain and all that. I don't remember who was on the list, so I don't, I don't want to get into names at all because I don't remember who was on it or what number everybody was. But I do remember there was a lot of guys who I'm a fan of, a lot of guys who I'm personal friends with, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's awesome, But then I just knew, like if I was 5 or something or 4, I might even still feel like I know I'm 1 over so and so or whatever. But I wouldn't have mentioned. I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm top 5 or top 4. But to be like 9 and 10, I was like, whoa, hold up. You know what I mean?
And no doubt, that's perfectly fair.
Are we gonna name like Braun, Katie, Harden? That's awesome. But then we're gonna go all the way down, and it's like CJ McCollum gonna be over here. Like, whoa. Like, it was that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, CJ McCollum is awesome, but it was that type of thing. And again, this isn't about anyone personally, because I don't remember who was on it. But I just know what I'm capable of, and I'm like, yeah.
And you also knew what you had in the tuck too, as far as the EP.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was based on current work or work coming out. I was just talking about who's nice. Like, I was just talking about, I know what
that's a totally different art. Now, if we're talking about just pure MC ability, that's a totally different list.
Yeah, like I think when you talk about that type of stuff, it's catalog, it's album, consistency, freestyle.
Yeah, that's a totally different list.
And when you say greatest MCs in the world, then I'm thinking all of that's the criteria. If I know this is based on who put out a certain amount of work or the type of work in the past 3 months, I wouldn't have said a word. I'd have been like, okay. I wouldn't have said a word because I know I was quiet at the time. But it was just top 10 MCs in the world. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because when I hear that, I'm thinking all the criteria we just said. Catalog, consistency. Do they have full albums or just mixtapes and EPs? Do they have a classic album in their catalog? Do they have, great features? Do freestyle? Like all these different things. That's when I'm like, hold up. But if we talking about at the time, who's put out a certain amount of work or a certain level of work over the past 3 or 4 months, that would have flew right by me. I'd have been like, okay, I get it, because I hadn't had a lot of stuff out currently. But so it wasn't even about the EP on deck, because I didn't know that was part of the criteria. I just thought everything across the board was criteria. That's when I was like, whoa.
No. And that's one of the things that me and Vi talked about when we do the next installment of that, because that is something that we're currently working on. When we do the next installment, we're gonna do a better job of explaining that in a little more detail, like through our social media and on the shows prior to the actual show. We kind of just did it one day and we was like, yo, we were thinking, we like, all right, you make a list, I'm gonna make a list, and then we're gonna compare lists. And then we took about a week or so, and then we came back and was like, just based on what's out right now, also factoring in that they have skill and they have actual dope songs and dope music, but it can't be based on what they did 6 months ago, or because if that's the case, then we got to put a whole bunch of other people in here too. And so that was a way for us to narrow it down, because people like you, like Joel, like Pharaoh, like there was people that we obviously, that we couldn't leave off that list if we were including everything.
Yeah, if you look at Pharaoh, Pharaoh hasn't dropped in a while. You know what I mean?
But he's still at any given point, he can do what he do. So that was the way that we had to. That was a way for us to narrow it. So I figured a lot of people would see that and be like, "Oh, these niggas is tripping," like
I didn't know that. You know what I mean? You had that.
Yeah.
Like, you look at Black Thought. Black Thought ain't dropping years, but ain't no discussion without Thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no discussion without Thought. So. So it's just what it is, man. But it's all good. It's all good fun.
Well, we appreciate you being so receptive, and even just taking time to even just respond or even just look at it, man. So that's a part of the whole thing, man.
And you know what? A lot of times, I don't look at everybody who posts something like that, because every kid who has 30 followers and has a job can make a list. You know what I'm saying? Okay, can make a list and be like, yo, this is my top 5 MCs at the time. And sometimes little stupid stuff flies by the ground. I'll be like, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? Are you serious? Like, you put so-and-so on your list? Are you serious? Like, they do whatever better than they rap. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it may be. So, I'm like, all right, whatever. But with you guys, I remember the conversation we had, when we did the first interview. So I knew you guys was on it and, knew what it was. I knew you guys knew what was up. You appreciated lyricism. You knew what it was that I do, what other great MCs do.
Yeah.
You knew what it was. So that's why y'all's stuck out to me. You know what I mean? If it was anybody else, maybe or maybe not. But y'all stuck out because I'm like, yo, we just spoke and talked about how they get what I'm doing and how great they feel it is. And I'm like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I'm glad it caught your eye, and we just so it's 100% clear, we 100% appreciate everything that you do, because you're one of the main reasons why we made a show like this for MCs, because it seems like everybody has a podcast now, but when we started doing this, there weren't a lot of people talking about actual MCing on their shows. So
right,
we felt like that was something that we needed to do because of our appreciation for the sport of hip hop, for the sport of MCing.
No doubt. Much appreciated, man. It's much appreciated for sure. And I appreciate the time, man. And it's so much stuff, man. I feel like I feel like even as much as y'all get it, I mean, there's so much we didn't touch. I'm like, they might not even got that yet, but they'll get it later.
Oh
like
man,
we didn't touch Long Money. Like Long Money to me is like
Ooh,
top 5 records I've ever written. You know what I
yeah.
mean? We didn't even touch it. We didn't
oh
even bring
oh
it
no,
up.
I didn't want to have you out here burning the midnight oil, because I mean we can get into whatever, but I mean I know you're a busy dude,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Respect on that, man, and
yeah.
the production credit on that you got on that too. I mean that was your idea from the jump, or did somebody bring that to you?
What's that for Long Money?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, it was my idea. I took it to Mark Infinite. Mark
Okay.
Infinite, my man, you know, he's done a bunch of fire joints for me, Bamboo and Suicide Doors and all types of stuff.
Bamboo. Yeah.
Yeah, so I took it to him. You know what I mean? Like when I was in Europe and I started thinking about the EP, for whatever reason, that Cortex joint just kept popping up in my head. And I knew it was a popular joint. I knew mad people messed with it. And I really don't like messing with samples that a lot of people mess with. But I mean, I was waking up in Paris and, you know, wherever, you know, Lyon and different places in Europe. I would wake up in the hotel in the morning and that sample, the original song, would just be ringing in my head. And I was like, I got to do something with this. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta jump on that Cortex record when I get home. So when I got back to the crib, I just hit Mark Infinite and I was like, yo, you know the Cortex? He was like, yeah, I mean, I got that record, definitely. I was like, yeah, I need you to do something with that, bro. And then I kind of told him how I wanted him to approach it. You know, I didn't really want no drums. I just wanted a lot of loopage and, you know, all that type of stuff. And, you know, it came out perfect. And then what I was doing on it, man, that's, to me, that's like top 5, maybe top 10 records of mine that I've ever written. You know what I mean? It's up there between 5 and 10 top records I've ever written. You know, to me, like my favorite records that I've ever written are like, you know, Langston's Pen, Definitive Prayer,
Yeah.
How to Make It Through Hysteria, you know, those records, and that's one of them. You know what I mean? Like that Friend of Foe 3, you know, but that Long Money is one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it was a nice way to close out the EP.
And it sets up, you know, the next joint, you know, so it's good.
Man, we appreciate you taking time to talk to us. We definitely want to see if we can talk to you again once the LP comes out, man. So we'll definitely be in touch. Is anything else you need the people to know before we get out of here?
Yeah, just you know, keep checking in and supporting, man. I appreciate every single person who presses play on a stream or a purchase or whatever it is, man. I appreciate it all. I don't take any of it for granted or any of it lightly. You know, I'm humbled by it. You know, outside of that, album coming soon, working on that, and a lot of film and TV stuff is going on. You know, I got a movie out right now called Patty Cakes. It's in theaters right now nationwide in a bunch of different theaters, and it's popping up in more theaters every weekend. It's like a tour. Patty Cakes is a film that it's about a white girl from Jersey who raps and who gets busy, but no one takes her seriously because she's a white girl from Jersey. It's kind of like an 8 Mile, a little more comedic, but kind of like an 8 Mile, you know, a coming up story, underdog, white rapper, that type thing. And I was hired by the director and the crew there to teach the lead how to rap, like to teach the lead actress how to rap. She never rapped a day in her life. They hired her based on her acting ability, and they hired me to be a consultant and teach her how to rhyme, and she pulled it off. She nailed it, you know. And then I'm in the film as well. I have a role in the film, and I'm also an associate producer on the film and things like that. So, you know, it's a lot of good things with it, man. And now I'm in this film world. You know, now I'm dealing with Fox Searchlight. Fox Searchlight bought the film, so now I'm dealing with Fox Searchlight every day on all these nice, good things. And, you know, now I got film stuff going on, so it's dope, you know.
Okay, now who's the actress?
Her name is Danielle McDonald, and she's really, really dope. There's a lot of dope actors and actresses in it. It's out now. If you Google Patty Cakes, spell Patty with an I at the end, you Google Patty Cakes, the trailer comes up. The reviews has been ridiculous. People Magazine, USA Today, and all these different things. The reviews have been insane. It won like every award at Sundance, and then there was a bidding war for it. And Fox Searchlight bought the movie. They won the bidding war for a bunch of money, and you know, it's a really, really good thing that's going on, and
Nice.
I'm just fortunate enough to be involved, you know?
I'm gonna have to get you on my other podcast. Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
TV and movie podcast that I do with my wife. We're gonna
Okay,
we're gonna have to talk about that, John.
no, definitely. It's turning into
That's
you know,
dope.
it's turning into a lot of other film and TV opportunities. So now I'm dancing in that world a little bit too.
Skyzoo, the thespian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Sky, just tell the people how to get in touch with you online, man.
Best way is Twitter at Skyzoo, Instagram at Skyzoo the writer, Snapchat at Skyzoo the writer, and yeah, I'm very accessible. Even though I'm running around, I'm touring, I'm ghostwriting, I'm doing film stuff, working on a new album. I'm still very accessible via social media. I run them all myself.
Word, man. Again, man, we appreciate this. You joined the club with the likes of Torre,
Razkaz,
Mickey Fax.
Mickey Fax, yep.
Yeah, the people that have been on the show twice. So we appreciate all of you guys and what you have done. And we'll talk to you soon, man. Appreciate it.
That's dope. And those are all guys that are my peoples. You know, obviously Tor's my brother. You know, awesome MC.
My life coach.
Okay, word up. Yeah, Mickey, and you know, I've known Mickey for years. Mickey get busy, and you know, Ras, of course. You know what I'm saying? So like, those are all guys who
it's good company.
Always, yeah, and they're always pushing the culture forward and getting busy with the pen, and always, you know, deserve to be in those talks and those lights. So you know, those are my peoples, man. It's good things.
Man, word. We appreciate it, brother, and we're looking forward to everything else you got coming out, man. Thanks again.
Word up, appreciate it, y'all.
Skyzoo.
Yes, yes. Yes, Vod.
Yeah, man. I mean, once we get Rhapsody back, that'll complete the
yo. If you take the MCs that have been on our show and you put them up against, hey man,
it's the tape, y'all.
Hey, yo, Skyzoo, Torre, Razkaz, Mickey Fax, OC, Rhapsody, Master Ace. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Hey, man, I'll take the Tissue MCs versus whoever.
Yeah, we got a nice little squad, man. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. He's only 16.
I promise you.
We appreciate everybody tuning in, checking us out. Be on the lookout for tissueandthetape.com as well as Tissue and the Tape clothing.
Oh yeah,
yes, it is on the way. Working on that for you, everybody. Phil, man, take us out with the fader.
Okay, gang. Hey, man, ain't too much more to say after that, man. We just had the homie Skyzoo, truly one of the best MCs in the world. Peddler Themes is out. Please go cop that. Yo, Vod, hey man.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely have to give a shout out to my man Black Don, who blessed me with raw chowder. He did if you can see it in the background, for those. Yeah, shout out. That was done for two of my friends that passed on earlier this year. So RIP Shiz and RIP Chan. That shirt was done to honor them. So definitely want to say rest in peace to them. Yeah. And you know, and until next time, work for the money, live for the love, die for what you believe in. This is Tissue and the Tape. Everything is hip hop. Respect, Heat HolderZ.
Peace.